Okay, so how did you go there?
Harold?
Hello.
Hi, Harold.
Hi.
Where were you?
The desert.
Okay.
Okay, we're on Lamed Hey Amid Bays, 35b, the Mishnah on the bottom. Shachto amanas laniach es damo o emurav lemachar. So we've been learning that the machshavas pigol is when you do the shechita, you have in mind to eat of the korban tomorrow, or to be zoyrek, the blood tomorrow. But if he has in mind that you're going to just place the blood somewhere, not to be makrivit, but to laniach it, just to put it somewhere, either the dam or the emurim. Oh, lahotzian lachutz, or you have in mind that I'm going to take either the dam or the emurim outside of the azara, not to offer it, but just to take it out. So review the poisel. The chachamim makshirim. The chachamim say it's not a invalidating mashava. The animal remains kosher. Rabbi Yehuda says, even though he didn't think about eating it or being makter it, chutz l'zman or chutz l'mkomo, it becomes possible. If he shechts it amanas litnan al gabi akevesh, he has in mind when he shechts that he's going to apply the blood on the ramp. That's not normally where you apply the blood. You apply it on the mizbeach. Or shelo keneged hayisod. You're supposed to, those korbanos which you apply on the wall of the mizbeach, it has to be a wall that has a foundation. Part of the mizbeach didn't have a foundation. So if you had in mind to apply the blood, shelo keneged hayisod, which would not be a proper zrika, or litenes anitonin lamalan lamata, you had in mind to apply the blood that was supposed to go above the line, below the line, or vice versa. Vesanitorin lamata lamala. Those that's supposed to go below, he puts above. Or vesanitorin bifni, it's pakutz. He has in mind the normal korban, the blood was applied to the external mizbeach. But he had in mind that he was going to apply it to the Mizbech inside the Heichal. Or Sanitonim Bachutz Bifnim. Vice versa. Those that were supposed to be applied inside, he applied it outside, or he had in mind to do it, or vice versa. He had in mind those that normally are applied outside to put it inside. Or he had in mind when he shechted shiochlu tmeim, that tamei people should eat of the korban, or shiakrivu tmeim, or tamei kohanim should be makrivid, or shiochluhu arelim, uncircumcised Jews should eat it, or shiakrivuhu arelim, kohanim that are uncircumcised should offer it. Or you had in mind l'shaber atzomes haPesach. You're not allowed to break the bones of the korban pesach. Let's say during shechit you have in mind, I'm going to break the bones. So these are all machshavos. Or lechol hemenu na, to eat from the korban pesach raw. You're not allowed to do that. Or la'arev damo b'dam apsulim, or to mix the dam with dam that had been taken outside, let's say. In all these cases, kosher. These inappropriate machshavas do not ruin the korban. She'ein machshava poisas el b'chutz l'zman of chutzim komo. It's a very specific machshava that passes these korbanos. You have to have in mind either to do the zrika tomorrow or eat tomorrow, or to do the zrika in Tel Aviv or eat in Tel Aviv. Or another way to disqualify korban is if you shech the Pesach and the Chata Shalol Ishman for a different type of korban. My time at Rabbi Yehuda, who passled even by a machshava la'aniach tomorrow. On Rav Elazar Trei Kroi Ksivi, Benoiser, that if normally the korban cannot have anything left over beyond the next morning. Anything that's left over beyond the next morning is noiser. You have to burn noiser. Number two, if you eat a kazais of noiser, you chayv kares. So there's two psukim. Kasav echad omer lo yisro menu ad boker. V'hanoiser ba'esh tisrofu. Don't leave anything, and anything that's left, you have to burn it. V'kasav echad omer lo yaniach mimenu ad boker. Don't leave anything over. Now, what do you need that for? Im eno inyan laniach. That's already been told. Los asuru. So today, machshava sinuach. Rab Yehuda learns that pasuk comes to teach you that if you have a machshava to just place it tomorrow, that's passes it. Rabbi Yehuda ikra lahach yudasa. How can Rabbi Yehuda use that pasuk for that? He needs it for the following limud. It says, "Ubsar zevach toida shlama," the meat of a korban of a toda, biyom korbano yeyachel. You should eat it on the same day. Lo yanich menu ad boker. Don't leave anything over till the morning. So ubsar zevach toida shlama lamadnu letoida shenachelas liyam b'layla. That tells us that a regular korban toda has to be eaten for 24 hours. 12 hours day, 12 hours night. The chalipin, a substitute, or vlodois, the child of a toda, or tmura, if you make a tmura of a toda minayin, that they're also only eaten for 24 hours, Talmud Loimer, uvesar, the vav. Chatas v'ashim minayin, that they can only be eaten for 24 hours, Talmud Loimer, zevach. So it comes to include other korbanos. Minayin l'rabbi shalmei nazir ayil. The nazir brings that at the end of his naziris. And the Shalmei Pesach, Rashi says it's the Chagiga Yudalid, the animal that you brought on the 14th day that you ate. Your Seder meal was from the Shalmei Pesach, Talmud Lomer Shlomov, plural. What about the Lachmei Toda, the 40 loaves brought with the Toda? The Chalos Urikikin, Shebenazir, the Nazir also brought 20 loaves. Minayin, that they also have to be eaten within 24 hours. Talmud Lomer Korbano. Kulan Kore Ani Bahen Lo yanich menu ad boker. So how could you tell me that Rabbi Yehuda uses this pasuk for the machshavas hinuach? You need it for. Tell me what the period of time that these korbanos can be eaten. Im kain lema kra lo sosrimim boker. Why lo yaniach? Im eno inyan linuach. We already know that you can't leave it over. Tneu inyan lemachshavas hinuach. Even having in mind to leave it over is the makor for Rabbi Yehuda to say it passes. Hatinich laniach. That's fine if he has in mind to leave over the emurim tomorrow. But when you said lahotzi, to take it outside of the Beis Hamikdash, Michael and Mebar, that's not learned from this pasuk. The Od, time to Rav Yehuda Svaru. The reason for Rav Yehuda is not a pasuk; it's a svar. The Tanya, Amar Rav Yehuda, Iyatem moedim sheminichu l'machar shu pasul. I mean, you agree with me, Chachamim, that if you leave the korban over till tomorrow, it's pasul. So therefore, av chishev l'nichu l'machar pasul. So therefore, if he has a machshava during the shechita to leave it over, it's also pasul. So it's from svar; it's not from a pasuk. El time Rav Yehuda Svaru. Yeah, is that so? V'niflik nami Rav Yehuda b'kula. He should argue with all of these things. All the things mentioned in the Mishnah. Now, behei niflik, which one? If he's going to argue b'shoichet ha-pesach v'lechol mimet, if he's going to go b'shoivrat somewhere, have in mind to break the bones of the pesach, or lechol mimet, to eat it raw. Well, if he did those things, zivcha gufa mi mifsel, he doesn't puzzle the whole korban. Once you did zrika sadam, the korban is okay. And amanashi yachlu tmeim v'shekrivu tmeim. When he has in mind that the tmeim should eat it or offer it, zivcha gufa mi mifsel. Once you did the zrika sadam, it's a kosher korban. Or shechlu arelim v'shekrivu elim. Zivcha gufa mi mifsel. If he has in mind that arelim should eat it, even if arelim eat it, they can't eat it, but the korban is still good. Lishnachrina. There's another version called kamine. Is it in the power that all of this is b'machshava of acherim? So la'arev damin b'dam apsulim. Rabbi Yehuda doesn't argue that if he has in mind to mix the blood of the animal with blood that was, let's say, pasul, because it was taken outside. Rabbi Yehuda doesn't argue. He says it's okay. Why? L'tamei the omer ein dam vatal dam. Even if it's mixed, the other dam remains in force, wouldn't become pasul. Similarly, when he had in mind litenas aniton lamala lamata or lamata lamala, that he had in mind to apply the blood that was supposed to go above, below, or vice versa. What's wrong with that? He was one of those people who held that wherever you apply the blood in the mizbech works. Well, what about the liflog that I'm arguing? Those bloods that were supposed to be applied on the mizbech in the heichal, and he had in mind to do it outside, or vice versa. So the Torah itself answers that. So Rabbi Yehuda, for a machshava chutz limkomo, be'inin makom shi'e meshulash, bedam bebasar uve'emurin. The place has to be a place where you can offer the blood, you can eat the meat, and there's haktor emurin. So, for example, even outside the Azora, during the Heter Abamos, you could eat it. But Zrika Behechal, there is no, you never offer meat or a murim on that korban. Umisle Rav Yehuda Svara of Makam Meshulosh Vatan Yehuda Oimer, it says Lo Tizbach LaHashem Kol Davara. Ribakan Chatas Shachta Bedoro. This includes normally you're supposed to shech the chatas in the north. But if you shecht it in the south, it's included. V'chein chatas shenichlas dama lifnim. A chatas whose blood was applied inside or brought inside, or you had in mind lachnis, psula. So that passes even in Malkam Shena Meshulish. The less Rabbi Yehuda, this svara of Shlishi of Malkam Meshulish, Vatnan. Rabbi Yehuda Hichnis, B'shoigeg, if Damachatas, that's normally supposed to be done outside, was brought inside, if you did B'shoigeg kosher, I have amazing puzzle. The Kaimelon, that's B'shekiper. He actually did the zrika on the Mizbeach Bapnimi. Hashta, Umahasam Aili. If you bring in the dam, but if you had already had kapara, kippur in, it's possible ilo kippur lo. Hacha de chashav chashuvi. Here, all he's doing is thinking about it. Lo kol shekain, that it shouldn't invalidate. So it's machlokes straight tanoy alibi de Rabbi Yehuda. There's two tanoim arguing what Rabbi Yehuda said, whether he needs a makom meshulash or not. The savar Rabbi Yehuda shechata shechshachta bedara yeh chayiv. Does Rabbi Yehuda ever hold that if you shechta the chatas in the south, you get malchus? Vatanya Yehuda oimer yachol chatas shechshachta bedara yeh chayiv. Talmud omer lo tizbach l'Hashem elokecha shor vaseh asher yeh b'mum kol davar ra. Al davar ra, like a mum, atam achayvo. Then you get malchus. V'yatam achayvo chatas shechshachta bedara. So again, Trey Tanoim, leave it Rabbi Yehuda. Yeah, we're forced to say that there's two Tanoim arguing Rabbi Yehuda. Amar Rav Abba. Even though Rabbi Yehuda said that if you have in mind during the shechita of a korban to be meiniach the blood tomorrow, moide Rabbi Yehuda, if he went ahead after the shechita and Kabbalah was done okay, the machshava of the hanacha tomorrow does not mafkia this korban from pigul, like a machshavas chutz l'mkomo or shalol lishmo by Pesach and Chatas. That's a big statement. So a machshava hinuach, according to Rabbi Yehuda, does not invalidate pigul if you did it in one of the other avodot. Amar Rav Teda. Even the machshavas pigul itself. If you have in mind, I'm going to do zrika tomorrow. Well, you have to leave the blood till tomorrow too. So that's a machshava laniach. So pigul lifnei zrika lo klumhu. So if you had in mind to do the zrika tomorrow, it's not pigul yet until you actually did the zrika of the korban. As zrika v'kavla b'pigul. When you complete the avodot of that korban, then you can say the korban is pigul. And therefore the machshava of leaving it over so you can do the zrika doesn't ruin the pigul. So that proof is rejected. Velohi. Hasamu chada machshavu. Really, by pigul, when you say, I'm going to do the zrika, it's not a two-stage thing. It's not to leave over and then do zrika. It's one thing. Hacha, you have a machshava to be meiniach tomorrow, and then chutz l'zmanu zrika trei machshavas nivdalos, and there's a machshavas psul in that korban, then you can't be kovei pigul. Eis ve'ervun el Rav Abba, you shechted litinas anitonin l'mala l'mata, or l'mata l'bala. You had in mind the zrika should go below, which should go above, or vice versa. And you had in mind l'alter, the same day. Kosher. That's not an invalidating machshava. So therefore, chazer v'chishev chutz l'mkomo, if during one of the other korbanos, he has in mind to do it in Tel Aviv, Posel then Bokaris. And if he had in mind to do it tomorrow, Chutz's Mano Pigel V'Chalom Karis. But if he had in mind to place the blood tomorrow above the line or below the line, l'machar pasul. According to Rabbi Yehuda, it's a machshavas hinuach. And then if chazer v'chishev, if later on in the other avodot, whether he had in mind bein chutz l'zman, bein chutz l'mkomo, pasul vein b'kares, then you can't create true pigul, only psul. Yufta is Ravava, because that goes against what Ravava said, that it would be koivei pigul. To Yufta, so we knocked him out of the box. When he shechted, he shaved shioklu tmeim. He had in mind that Tomei people should eat the meat. L'machar, chay, it's pigul. We don't say since the basar is not really roy for them to eat it because they're tomei, maybe we think it's not a chutz l'zmano. It is. Amarava teda, because basar of zrika lo chazi. Prior to zrika, you can't eat the meat. Yet the chimachashav bei mifsal. But if you have a other machshava psula, the chutz l'zmano machshava makes it pigul, but velohi hasam zarik umechsi. Buy a case of pigul or a case of a regular korban. Once you do the zrika, anybody can eat it. Here by the tmeim achalon mechsi, klal, nobody can eat it. This was pearls in the mouth of Rav Dimi. Basar Pesach shlo hutzla. You know, you're supposed to eat the korban pesach roasted. Let's say it wasn't roasted, or velachmei toda shlo hurmu. You didn't shake the lachmei toda, or give a portion of it to the kohanim. Chayov naleh mishum tuma. Both, if somebody ate it in the state of tuma, you get kores. Amar Rav Teida the Tanya. There's v'nefesh asher tochal basar mizevach hashlemim asher Hashem. V'tumaso alav, and he's tamei v'nichrasa. What's this asher Hashem? The rabos emure kotrikalim. Even if you ate the intestines of kotrikalim, which are completely burnt to Hashem, l'tuma, that even somebody eats those in a state of tumah, chayv karetz. Alma avagad delav ne'achilin, even though normally we don't eat them. Chayav naleh mishum tumah. Chanami, the meat of a pesach that wasn't roasted, or the lachmei torah that were not given to the kohanim, avagad delav ne'achilin. Even though as they are now, you can't eat them. Chayav nalav mishum tumah. You might think that you'd get karetz for eating tumah. Velohi. It's not a good comparison. Hasam emir kochim kalim chazu. Legavoa. The intestines of a regular kochim kalim, at least the mizbeach can consume it. It's achilas mizbeach. So therefore, if a tamei person eats it, it's considered achila that will give him karetz. La fuket tzar pesach shlo hutzla. But a piece of meat of pesach that was not roasted, nobody can eat those. So that's different. So if a tamei person eats them, you don't get karetz. Lishnachrina. Ha emorin lo chazu. I mean, they're not roy la'achila. Veloi ha nechazu lemilsayu. Each is roy for its own thing. The emurim are roy for the burning on the mizbeach. Hanu lo chazi, but Psar Pesach is not roy for anything. Klal. Hanu la kolapsul, not la kolapsul, not la kolapsul. New parak Revi.
Hold on. We need a new book. Chapter 4.
Beishamay oimrim. Kol anitonin amizbech achitzo. Anytime you have to apply blood on the outside mizbeach, chatas, asham, shlamim. Sometimes you have to. The Torah says you have to throw twice. Sometimes they have to do 4. Says Beishamay, nosan b'matana achas kiper. Even if you gave just one application, you have kapara. Uvachatas, where you need to apply blood on all four corners, according to Beis Shammai, shtei matonos. If you did at least two, you're okay. Ubeis Hillel av chatas shenista matana achas kiper. That b'di'evid it works even with one. Lefichach. So a principle comes out of this. Im nasanas arishona kitikuna. If the application of the first blood was done without any improper machshavas. Ves hashniya, the second application is chutz lizmana kiper, because once you did the first application, it's not makiv anymore. And therefore, any machshava during an avoda after kapara doesn't possible. V'im nasas arishona chutz lizmana ves hashniya chutz limkoma. Let's say by chatas, according to Rav Beis Hillel, in the first application he had in mind chutz lizmana, and the second chutz limkoma. It's pigul v'chanol kores, because chutz lizmana creates pigul, which is kores, and the second one machshavas chutz, it doesn't ruin it. It doesn't mafkia the pigul. It doesn't even play a role because the whole avoda was not necessary. But anytime you have to apply blood on the four corners of the mizbech in the heichal, you have to apply all four. If you didn't apply all four, there's no kapor. Lefichach nasan kulan kitikunan. They were all done with proper machshavas. One was done by machshavas chutz lizmano. That chadas is possible because it's missing one of the applications. But if you're going to have a machshavas pigul, it's got to be through all the material, and therefore ain bo kores. There's no real pigul. Torah rabbanon. Minay l'nitanam mizbech achitzon shenoslam v'atan ach shekiper. That b'di'evet, according to Beis Hillel, even a chatas that requires four, if you only did one, you're okay. Talmud Lemar, v'dam zvachecha yishafech. One pouring is enough. You can't use it for that teaching. We need it for the following. We'll learn that tomorrow. Okay.
What time? 7?
7 o'clock.
Okay.
Tonight, we start Esther